In 2024, the BFBs had a remarkable degree of consensus about which films marked the best of the year. Whether our writers were drawn to inventive camera work, damning indictments of power systems, or the ineffable allure of a certain Luca Guadagnino, it is a happy coincidence that our sometimes discordant array of voices has been united by a few key films. Here are our picks for the best movies of 2024.
In cinema, sometimes there can be a conflation between the importance of the subject matter of a film and its quality. This is not the case for Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, an electrifying 2.5-hour crash course on neocolonialism that centers around the process of Congolese independence, and also the world's most elaborate Nikita Khrushchev fan camp. Through bouncy musical montage and using only archival footage, the film conveys the intertwining of popular culture and political turmoil, as Black American jazz musicians such as Louis Armstrong and Nina Simone were used as distractions, while the CIA and other imperial powers plotted government overthrows and assassinations in the African continent. It's a complete editing tour de force that will probably only get more timely in years to come as international tensions continue to rise.
Sing Sing is the best film of the year, and perhaps even more surprisingly, it was the most fun film of the year. The film is certainly packed with heart-wrenching moments as well, but these are balanced with moments of humor, friendship, and joy. The pacing between the two allows the emotional highs and lows to hit harder than they would have in a vacuum. Director-writer Greg Kwedar pulls off this balancing act in what is a breakthrough directorial performance. Sing Sing is the story of John, Divine G. Whitfield, and Clarence, Divine I. Macklin. Whitfield, who is portrayed by Coleman Domingo, and Macklin, who portrays himself, do not shy away from portraying themselves as complex, full individuals. The two men go through two of the most engrossing arcs in any film in recent memory, with imprecise, non-linear growth that is authentic and well-paced. While Domingo's performance as Divine G has received well-deserved acclaim, this is really an ensemble piece, primarily composed of actors playing themselves. The camaraderie and community built requires each actor in the film to hold their own, and they all do in both comedic and dramatic moments. Sing Sing is a genuine example of different people teaching and supporting each other at different times, without the plot ever veering into hokey territory. It is my favorite film from 2024.
As the sudden tides rise higher than mountaintops, a ragtag group of animals overcome their instinctual needs in Gints Zilbalodis' second directorial feature, Flow. The initial shaky alliance between a cat and a capybara soon grows to include a secretary bird, a lemur, a yellow lab, and an ever-present but mysterious whale. The film has no dialogue and is an authentic depiction of real animals, but the lack of anthropomorphism doesn't stop the audience from sympathizing with and seeing themselves in the motley crew. Flow was made in Blender, a free and accessible animation software. Its unique style and sweeping visuals separate it from the pack. But what's just as compelling as what you see is what you don't. Unanswered questions left me with more to think about after the credits rolled. This, in addition to its humanity and humor, made it one of my favorites of the year.
From what I've been able to catch this past year, not much has really knocked my socks off. But there's only one movie I hit in theaters 3 times, all of my own volition, and that's Luca Guadagnino's Challengers. I have no grand statements about how Challengers is pushing the medium forward or revolutionizing formal construction or any bullshit of that nature. Instead, I'm content to simply say Challengers is really fucking good. It's got 3 extremely fun lead performances. It's beautifully shot by 4-time 2024 cinematography goat Sayambu Muktapram. Koritsky's script is funny, tense, sexy, etc., etc. Marco Costa's bizarre editing is like begging to be noticed, whether that's a good thing or not, but it's cool. And the Reznor Ross score was my 3rd most listened to album of the year. And then, on top of all of that, Challengers was a bona fide cultural event. And this is obviously not to say a movie should be judged by its ability to infiltrate the zeitgeist. But I think it illustrates the overall reason I'd call Challengers my favorite of the year. It's like a 100-volt electric shock coursing through your body, to be thought of by the sheer force of its impact.
Adapting a coming-of-age story from book to screen is a common industry practice, but no easy feat. To elevate a story beyond its text and fully deliver on an artistic vision, particularly one that feels comfortable personifying its camera as the protagonist's point of view, is damn near impossible. Nevertheless, RaMell Ross's Nickel Boys does just that. His nearly 2.5-hour drama is correctly identified as an American masterpiece, often transcending the confines of story to elicit pure time, place, and culture. Its empathetic framing of two black boys' multi-year endurance of a racist reform school uses creative abstractions to imply its brutality, while still managing to find bright spots. Ross lands his narrative debut with the sophistication of a decades-deep auteur, demonstrating a directorial poise that elegantly counterbalances his protagonist's vulnerability. It is not an easy watch, but it is most certainly an essential one, which will leave you unpacking its vignettes for months to come.
In an Oscar race where multiple contenders are marred by controversy, Conclave has just been sitting there, keeping its nose clean, humbly presenting itself as a solid, if unexceptional, candidate. In fact, a lot of the reaction towards Conclave is in that vein, harkening back to a time when we'd get 3 of these well-made thrillers for adults a month. It's certainly a movie for our time, and the political lines are neatly drawn between the cardinals competing for the papacy, which makes for a convenient template to overlay on mainstream political discourse. The clear contrasts, although a bit pat, are very fun to observe. The Cardinal Tedesco vaping meme is proof enough. What I like most about the film is its call to embrace uncertainty by having faith, something that feels especially at odds with the way we experience and know the world around us today.
If I said that Luca Guadagnino made my favorite film of 2024, many would be quick to assume I meant Challengers. But the beloved Italian director made 2 great films last year. Queer shares its predecessor's fondness for sweaty bodies in motion and bold soundtrack choices. But Guadagnino tempers that style with restraint, poetry, and even transcendence. It's sexy, sad, and often very funny, ultimately culminating in a series of surreal and breathtaking hallucinations, which I expect will stay with me for years to come. Not since 2001: A Space Odyssey have we seen their likes. As Lee, Daniel Craig is a quintessential Guadagnino lead, lustful and longing for connection. Artful flourishes, an imagined hand reaching to caress a face, simmering slow-mo, enhance career-defining performances. These performances guide us on an odyssey both emotional and physical, with anachronistic music untethering queer's universal themes from time and place. The need to really be with another to the point of the impossible is all of ours then and now.